Hey Void, still keeping on it. Back at it again. David Rizzo's here, speaking with you once more, and we're following up on yesterday's review of House on Haunted Hill with a review of House on Haunted Hill, the 1999 remake, which I saw once, probably around when it came out, circa, probably when it first came to DVD around 2000, 2001 maybe. So it's been a long while since I've seen this one. And I vaguely remembered it, mostly things towards the beginning. And I will say, as far as remakes go, this one does it kind of right by taking the original kind of concept and, while keeping kind of the core of it, really switching up a lot of the details and kicking it up to 11. So it's a vastly different film. It's by no means a shot for shot remake, which I appreciate. So, last time I already went over the basic premise of House on Haunted Hill. So I'll run it again, but give it some where the differences kick in. So first off, most of the characters in this have been renamed, reskinned, re-upped, with the exception of the guy who owns the house, Pritchett. So is still the same, but everyone else is switched to a degree, to the point where Jeffrey Rush plays the eccentric millionaire Stephen Price, named after, well, Vincent Price from the who played in the original, and to the point where Jeffrey Rush is done up to look a lot like Vincent Price. While the personality is a little off and still clearly a Jeffrey Rush performance, there's definitely some hints of a tribute to Vincent Price going on in there, and I liked that. So, this one is again about having a party in a haunted location. That's then the wife is in this one. It's his wife's birthday party this time, rather than just a impromptu party. But her guest list is not only discarded and rewritten by Stephen Price, it is now also then rewritten by ghosts. Yes, in this one, there's doesn't have the ambiguity that the first one have of whether there is or isn't ghosts. This one, they go around and tell you there's ghosts, and they're pissed. But anyway, so the but this time, instead of just being a mansion where people have died repeatedly, this one it's an abandoned mental institution that is had a terrible incident in it, and now it's haunted and homicidal. So, the owner, Pritchett, is this time played by Chris Kattan. His performance is 50-50. I will say I do like his energy, and he gets the frantic paranoid thing down very well, but as the film wears on, it does grate a little. He does have some of the more humorous moments, but at times he's a bit much. So, now a lot of the characters have allegories for their originals, but as before, this was now set in a abandoned mental institution, which a doctor was doing sadistic experiments on his patients until eventually the inmates broke out, killed the doctor, but the doctor sealed everyone in and a fire broke out, killing everybody. And since then, terrible incidents have been happening, and it's a renowned haunted location. So, perfect place for a birthday party. Now, this one, Stephen Price, is a millionaire who got his millions designing theme parks and horror attractions. So, the fact that he set up this thing as a perhaps a ghost house, everyone assumes most of what's going on is just his special effects. And some of them are, until things start happening. Now, in the original one, I mentioned there's a lot of murder plots of whether Vincent Price's character was trying to murder his wife or she was trying to murder him, and the characters in this one keep the same animosity. They are still at each other's throats, and they have the same chemistry that Vincent Price did back in the 50s version. So I do like that. For a while, I was unclear on how it was going to go, but they keep some of the same twists that the first one had. despite the vastly different setup. In that one, pretty much only the people trying to murder each other initially had that going on. In this one, ghosts are now killing people left and right, so I was wondering if the original murder plot was still going to be in there, and it is. So it keeps a lot of those important beats, the murder things with the twists that it pulls. It keeps almost all the same twists, but there's also now actual ghosts running a rampage. And I think that worked pretty well in this one. It was a decent enough departure that it made it uninteresting to watch, having just watched the other one yesterday. Now, I will say this one's a lot more over the top. It is rather gory and is not shy about nudity or language. Whew, Jeffrey Rush is swearing his ass off in this one. But it actually, all of it adds to the atmosphere, and I appreciate that. Ali Larter and Taye Diggs kind of come to the forefront as the main characters, allegories from the first one, transplanted over here instead of a experimental pilot. Taye Diggs plays a former baseball star, so he kind of has that same athletic energy. And Ali Larter's character is more of a... I think that was Ali Larter. Pretty sure. Is that Bridget Wilson? No, it was Ali Larter. Anyway, she's plays someone who's actually not even supposed to be there. She's come in place of a secretary instead. Or someone who was too important to come, so they sent their secretary, and she's just now stuck here. And the house itself seems to have wanted these people here for some mysterious reason, that connection to the past, and it all goes into it. There's some really inventive imagery in this film, and a lot of horror scenes that just kind of flash up when people are having episodes are chilling, and a lot of them are fascinating to see. So despite this film's had only an okay rating at the time, and most people didn't really talk about it, I actually was enjoying my way through this one. It's kind of a by-the-numbers horror film, to be fair. But it does those numbers well, and some of the imagery is good. Now, a lot of the things this movie pulls is pretty run-of-the-mill today, but back in 1999, some of it I think was a little bit fresher. Like some of the imagery of like eyeless monsters jumping at the things, and some of the quick cuts it does to illustrate the madness. Now it's a little bit more average, but I think in the late 90s it wasn't as overdone. I will say I'm a little torn on one of the ending effects for this one. Pretty much when The Darkness comes out, which Chris Kattan seemed all too aware of somehow, it seems to be like the manifestation of the evil lurking in this place. The image itself is the CGI monstrosity, but it's hypnotic to look at. Does this interesting tentacly creeping thing throughout the place, but when it rears up, it looks good to a degree. I mean, it's obviously CG, but just the swirling madness that it kind of looks like, and how they made the effect is interesting. It's essentially they filmed a naked woman dancing, mirrored it, flipped it, cropped it, and it superimposed it all together, this weird mirror collage thing. So occasionally you can see little snippets of it, but for the most part, it just looks at this weird, twisted, writhing thing, and it's a cool effect. But it does look a little off as it chases them around. But when it's just kind of there looming, it looks pretty cool. My only other complaint is the Mad Doctor here is played by Jeffrey Combs. And as I've said in previous videos, I love Jeffrey Combs. I do. But he is wasted here. He has like one, maybe two lines, and otherwise just stands around looking like just a doctor. So anyone could have played this role. Anyone could have. And getting one of the best Mad Doctors, Herbert West, to play this role where his character, they name him and they reference him a couple times, but it's to the point where you could have almost even cut out some of those details and the movie would have played fine. So he is wasted. I wish they would have given him more to do. Considering they kind of play him up as one of the big bad ghosts, he doesn't do a whole lot in the film, which is unfortunate. Overall, I did enjoy seeing this one again. It keeps the same fun that the original had. The characters play off each other in an entertaining way, and it doesn't take itself too seriously. The chemistry between the characters is good, and the movie knows how to have a little fun with itself, and just watching this play out to these people I liked watching it. Just like, it had the same feel of the first one, despite being a vastly different movie. Like, them being chased around an asylum by ghosts, despite the same premise. And the fact that the millionaire has called them here to give them an absurd amount of money if they can spend the night, they keep that. This time it's up to $1 million each. And him handing out guns to everyone, they kept that too. So a lot of the things were still there. It's just everything else around it's turned up to 11, while the same plot essentially plays out within it. And a lot of the lines are transposed, but they're said by different characters or under different circumstances. But I think it works. I'm gonna give this one. It's not great enough to get into my higher categories, but I still will give it a 3 MacGuffins, but a very high one. I can't say it's one of my favorite films, but it was an enjoyable watch. I think that's all I have on this one for right now. But yeah, if you haven't seen this one, give it a chance. It's better than a lot of the reviews make it out to be, I think. I know this one did garner a sequel, Return to House on Haunted Hill, but I have not yet seen that movie, and it's not currently in my collection, so maybe someday, or if I happen across a copy, I'll give it a look. But right now, it's not exactly a priority either. But, yeah, I'd say it's worth a watch. Have a good night, and I'll see you guys soon.